One flame goes out, and a man could lose his life. Yet for the emperor, this golden glow was power. No electricity, no gas, just forgotten science and rivers of blood. For 2,000 years, Chinese rulers turned night into day using brilliance and brutality. What did it really cost to keep the Son of Heaven from ever sitting in darkness? This is how palaces burned brighter than the sun. It's 1793. The British Macartney Embassy has just arrived in China, expecting a backward nation. But when Lord Macartney steps into the Hall of Supreme Harmony at midnight, he's met with an impossible sight. A throne room bathed in golden light, as bright as noon. Yet no gas lamps, no electricity. The diplomats whisper in shock, "How?" The secret? A 2,000-year-old lighting technology so advanced it outshone Europe for centuries. This was the forgotten art of imperial lighting, where fire became power, wax became white gold, and architecture bent moonlight to the emperor's will. Today, we're recreating exactly how the Forbidden City stayed luminous, and the dark truths behind its glow. Lighting a palace wasn't just practical, it was political theater. The brighter the throne room, the more the emperor's subjects believed in his divine mandate. But achieving this brilliance took millennia of innovation, and no small amount of imperial intimidation. The Han Emperor's lamps were engineering marvels. This one, from Lady Di's tomb, used bean oil and a hollowed-out servant figurine to trap smoke, keeping the air clean for aristocrats. But for the emperor, only bronze would do. The Book of Han records golden lamps lighting the night like stars during imperial audiences, a calculated display of wealth and divine connection. By the Tang Dynasty, lighting became spectacle. Emperor Xuanzong's Daming Palace burned whale oil in giant lotus-shaped lamps, each taller than a man. The Tang Huyao records 500 gallons of oil used in a single New Year's feast. Poets. Like Li Bai wrote of flames twisting like dragons in the jade halls, a not-so-subtle metaphor for the emperor's untouchable power. Fun fact: whale oil was so prized, the Tang court established trade routes with Japan just to secure it. Forget spices. This was the ultimate status symbol. By the Forbidden City's peak, lighting was a logistical nightmare. The Kangxi Emperor's records show 5,000 gallons of oil and 20,000 candles used annually, just for his private quarters. That's enough wax to build a life-size replica of the emperor, which might explain the everlasting lamp in his tomb, designed to burn for centuries using a hidden oil reservoir. This wasn't just luxury, it was psychological warfare. When foreign ambassadors saw the Hall of Supreme Harmony ablaze at midnight, they weren't just seeing light. They were seeing an empire that could afford to burn money while their own kings squinted in the dark. This isn't just a lamp, it's ancient innovation wrapped in bronze. The Changxin Palace lamp depicts a kneeling maidservant, hands raised with a lamp tray. But it's what's inside that stuns. The smoke from the flame traveled through her hollow arm into her body, where it was absorbed by water, an early form of air purification. Oil lamps burned sesame oil, which gave a mild, nutty aroma. But for emperors, whale oil was the luxury of choice, extracted from coastal tribute missions, rare and exorbitantly priced. While Europe's castles reeked of animal fat, the forbidden city glowed with beeswax, smokeless, long-burning, and precious. In fact, beeswax was so rare, Ming officials recorded its price as equal to silver per gram. The Jiajing Emperor's court blended beeswax with crushed agar wood and clove, part perfume, part offering to the heavens. These weren't just lights, they were prayers in wax. Eunuchs tallied each candle during celestial rituals. One accidental extinguishing? A bad omen. Imperial astrologers took note. Palace lanterns weren't just decorative, they were dynamic, sculptures. The Zuma Dung, or running horse lantern, used simple physics. Rising candle heat spun a turbine that rotated inner paper panels, casting galloping shadows across silk walls. Another marvel, the Liaoxi Dung, woven with glass filaments into shimmering net patterns. These were so intricate, the Ming government patented the design. In 1775, for his mother's 60th birthday, the Qianlong Emperor ordered 10,000 lanterns, turning the Forbidden City into a glowing celestial realm. For nighttime drills, firelight ruled. But the palace didn't just light torches, they engineered them. Bamboo stalks soaked in tung oil gave flames that burned hot and long. Bronze mirrors, normally used for divination or dressing, were polished to a high sheen and strategically placed to reflect torchlight across corridors and courtyards. Think ancient spotlights. Some ceremonies used mirror setups to create the illusion of 1,000 flames, amplifying the emperor's divine aura. Not all imperial light was man-made. In the Forbidden City, architects captured nature. Moonlight became part of the blueprint. White marble courtyards didn't just look elegant, they reflected moonbeams, lighting the emperor's path with soft glow. Paper windows made from Zhuan paper scattered daylight into rooms and gently diffused moonlight at night. Some pavilions, like the Yuetai or Moon Terrace, were oriented toward lunar events. During festivals, the emperor could sit in silence, bathed in silver light, aligned with heaven and earth. Behind the Forbidden City's golden glow was a reality never shown in paintings, an army of the unseen. This was lighting as forced labor, where perfection meant survival. The Qing court didn't just employ eunuchs, it industrialized them. The lamp maintenance office was a 24/7 operation with military precision. Shift rotations every 4 hours timed by incense sticks. Strict quotas. Each eunuch maintained 30 lamps per shift. Any less meant reduced rations. Class divisions, only senior. Eunuchs could handle the emperor's personal beeswax candles, a privilege that came with life or death responsibility. Shocking fact. Eunuchs assigned to the Empress Dowager's quarters had to wear silk gloves to avoid leaving fingerprints on lamps, a rule enforced by beatings if violated. Lighting wasn't just about brightness, it was about ritual perfection. The Jiaqing Emperor once ordered a eunuch strangled for letting a ceremonial lantern go out during his mother's birthday. Even minor errors had consequences. Smudged glass lanterns, 10 days in the kangyu, which is a wooden collar. Overfilled oil reservoirs, demotion to night soil collection. Late shift arrival, a month's wages deducted, a death sentence for families, relying on their income. The emperors didn't just burn oil, they burned empires. In 1786, the Forbidden City's lighting budget exceeded the entire Grand Canal maintenance for the year. To put it bluntly, the imperial candle is equal to a peasant family's week of food. Night's Lantern Festival is equal to enough food to feed 10,000 refugees. The same whale oil that lit the emperor's parties was taxed from starving fishermen along the coast, many of whom worked in perpetual darkness. The flames may be gone, but the glow remains. Every spring festival, over 15,000 lanterns light up the Forbidden City, not just as decoration, but as homage. These glowing forms echo the dynasty's dreams, honoring centuries of craftsmanship. Today's restorers use LEDs to preserve fragile ceilings, simulate firelight, and even mimic how shadows once danced across dragon-carved pillars. It's the past, reimagined by light. China's Tang Dynasty innovations spread far. Korea's royal lanterns and Japan's Toro both trace their origins to imperial Chinese design. Lighting wasn't just utility, it was diplomacy. From whale oil to Wi-Fi controlled LEDs, one thing hasn't changed: our longing to chase away the dark and write our stories in light. So next time you turn on a light, remember, it took thousands of people to keep the Forbidden City shining. Which method shocked you most? Let me know below, and subscribe for more historical deep dives.